Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian welcoming you to Out of the Park Baseball 25 with the Charlotte Silver Wolves. In our previous episode, we did extremely poorly for very little benefit. Let me explain. First off, thank you all so much to all the people in the comments and on Reddit. From other people that I questioned on Reddit that said there's actually a bug with the game where the real draft classes are basically all mid-tier garbage. This is fixed if you make a brand new save. I don't feel like doing that. Therefore, um, we're gonna make do, securing the knowledge that everyone else is equally fucked, not just us. It's not able to team other ways. So we got a lot of holes to fill. A lot of holes to fill. But before we do that, I wanted to make one change. No, I'm willing to actually let this go. Um, our team hates each other. And all of my coaches are signed for a while, so this is going to be awkward. Very awkward indeed. I could just start firing people willy nilly, and I gotta say, there is some attraction to that. We have a great scouting director, a truly special scouting director. And I have some good coaches, but I don't have enough of them. Our manager sucks, and I think this is probably the first place we could fire someone. Really, game? Really? I'm gonna fire the manager because he's gonna be around for a while, like a really long time. And I think getting a top tier manager is gonna help everything else work a little bit better. So we're gonna fire his ass. Want a manager with a great reputation. This will make our owner happy, but mostly it'll help us with our team. Buck Showalter would be a really good choice. An excellent choice, in point of fact. How would he get along with my current staff? Fairly well. Maybe not as well as I'd like, but fairly well. Good teacher, though. He does want an awful lot of control if I hire him. That is not a small thing, but I think Buck Showalter could actually make a pretty big benefit to this club, especially since we're such a young team. The other possibility hiring somebody a little bit younger who's still got some really good skills. And to that end, I'm looking at guys like George Fennell and Mike Hall. Mike Hall doesn't get along well with that many players. Oh, that was George Fennell, sorry. It's a little better with Mike Hall. I think an average relationship is fine, even if it isn't a brilliant relationship. Um, but let's go for Buck Showalter. Let's pony up the Brinks truck and get him a new offer. Now I'm gonna do something sneaky. Well, I still can. A good hitting coach isn't terrible. No, I gotta do better. I'm gonna fire our pitching coach and our hitting coach too. Fired and fired. And I think Johnny Lowe is the obvious choice here. Oh, no, actually, Sterling stock is the obvious choice. He's so good at everything. Yeah, let's go ahead and hire Sterling stock here. Well, I'm not doing this out because Buck Showalter wants his own coaches, but if they're already in place, he won't fire them. So that's kind of what I'm going for here. Um, I definitely want someone like a Jason Young, as long as they get along well with most of my players. Jason Young, I think, is the best choice here, so we'll go ahead and hire him. Notice I'm not looking at their personalities. I probably should do, but I'm not that interested at the moment. I think it's far more important to find. I think it's far more important to find the best coaches and then hire other people to fill things in. This is my thought process, anyways. Um, I mean, it wasn't a hard decision though because he sucked. Like he was not a good coach. All right, so that had to happen. That was a critical opening to our offseason. Now, my friends, let's begin addressing arbitration. We cannot overpay. I cannot stress that enough. We cannot overpay anybody. We are not in a position to overpay for luxuries when we're so far away from contending. And I see a great big luxury in Luis Garcia. Luis Garcia demanding $5 million seems excessive. Essentially, a pitcher that wasn't all that great. I think trading him is a great start to this offseason. So let's do exactly that. I'm also going to want to do some updates to our offseason program. We'll worry about that later. I will look at regulars as well. If I can get a quality regular, I am fine with this. No, I'm just going to non tender him then. I am not spending $5 million for him. That's obscene. Mm, keeping Nico Goodrum is stupid. Like, there's just not enough value in keeping him around to not play in the major leagues. I'm gonna non-tender him as well. Done. Um, Justin Lawrence is the first pitcher who unequivocally seems worthwhile. Even then, for Charlotte, he was actually kind of shitty. I've got to keep somebody in the bullpen, and I think that someone is for sure going to be Luis Gill. There you go. That's one thing settled. Um, I like Justin Spire a lot. I know he didn't play a ton of innings for us that were high leverage, but this package is extremely appealing to me. And so I think Gabe Spire also gets to stick around. There you go. Jose Suarez was hot garbage. I am not paying him any money, let alone $3 million. Somebody else can do that. Huascar Noah was a mid-tier starting pitcher that has just enough value that I will bring him back, but I'm not happy about it. Um, he's certainly not going to be guaranteed a role on the team. He'll get what he gets and he'll like it. Suarez gone. I want to try to trade Justin Lawrence if I can. Somebody's going to see his superficially good stats with San Diego and think he's a really good pitcher still. And I want to try to exploit that if we can. Any blues? I could get Andrew Vaughn. I don't think Andrew Vaughn's a great fit for this club, though. What are we looking at in terms of needs besides everything? Celestino, Valera, and Young all have a clear role on this club, as does Jake Myers. Nobody else does. I think Andrew Vaughn is the answer, though, depending on what the actual question is. No, Andrew Rabbit is an obvious choice here. He makes us both younger and better. I think it's a home run, if you'll forgive the pun, of a decision. And I think I'm going to take it, unless I see somebody else truly exciting, which I don't. Andrew Rabbit, welcome to the... There's Mark Vientos. I don't think so. But where'd he go? Where's my boy? Where's my beautiful boy? There he is. Andrew Rabbit, come on down. Next on our list, let's look at our position players. Josh Young is the only no-brainer here. Like, he had a really good year. He's still quite young, and we can probably flip him for something quite nice at the deadline, if all else is equal. Mame wants to get paid. I respect that. I'll pay him a little above what he's asking for. The question is it worth keeping Gavin Lux or Michael Garcia? I'm also going to keep Jake Myers, who I also think has a good bit of upside to him. Gavin Lux was brought on to be a really good defender and contribute with the bat. And he did one of those things last year. He was actually a pretty talented defender who played literally all over the diamond, and that's valuable in and of itself. Michael Garcia is so cheap that I think bringing him back for a year just makes sense. Like, it just makes sense to give him one more opportunity to either be part of the solution or be part of the problem. 4 million for Gavin Lux seems excessive for somebody who has proved exactly nothing in the major leagues. But I think we owe it to ourselves to pay to find out if he can be a worthwhile contributor. So that's what we're going with. Done. Let's advance some time, pals. Now, my goal is not a rapid turnaround. My goal is a gradual improvement where we're getting younger and better over time. Now, with the draft effectively being a dead letter for the next couple of years, It's going to be tricky, but not impossible. So we got all of our friends here. It's amazing. There's still some feuding. We really don't like people that are controlling. I'm gonna fire the first base coach. Can I hire base coaches, or do you care that much? I can hire base coaches. Okay, great. I'm gonna fire Steve Tinkham, and we're finally gonna do something to try to make people feel at ease. This is purely for team chemistry, Steve-O. We want somebody that is ideally easygoing and a good coach. That's the takeaway here. Easygoing. Ideally, it looks like somebody young that's going to stick around for a while. Somebody like John Wayner here would be perfect in so many ways. Yeah, I love it. We're going to go with him, no question. With the understanding that he's got a really good chance of picking up a third base a bench coach job at some point here. People signing contracts, very good. Brilliant. No thanks. It's gonna take time, but we will get here. We will absolutely get here and improve the staff culture year after year. But we're not there yet. We're not there yet. But we will be. Hiring Jimmy Van Dyke would be an interesting idea. No, how good is our team trainer? Does he suck? He is thoroughly unremarkable. We're gonna fire him and try to get somebody else that's easygoing. Andy Karaja is a pretty good fit. He's good at a lot of different things, and he's really good at the important things. The only thing he sucks at is preventing other. So yeah, let's bring him on board. Remake our coaching staff in our image. Back to the front office. Let us work now on staff roles. Oh. I have no good teachers other than Wayner. And even my bench coach isn't that great. I'm also going to fire the third base coach. I guess we're just remaking but you've got good player relationships. That's really valuable. It's not ideal, but it's good enough, and I don't want to cause too much chaos when if we just let the team gel a little bit, I think we'll see a better improvement. All right. I thought we are gonna win any awards this year. Like I'm not gonna fool myself here. It's not gonna be good. Hmm. We got a silver slugger though. That's cool. Nice work, George Valera. That's the other thing I was actually thinking of doing. Do we try to lock up Valera on a long-term deal? How much would that cost me? If I ask for a 6-year deal, hell no. Uh-uh. You may think I'm an idiot, and you may be right, but that doesn't mean I'm going to sit there and give you that much money. That would be suicidal at this point in our team's development. Let us now go to the international amateurs. Where is it? Oh, it's under scouting, isn't it? I always forget where they put it. Here it is. Let's run another practice with these guys. I guess this is a trade-off that apparently the international classes are ridiculously good now, but that might have also been fixed. So we'll see how that works out. For agency, our goal is to be smart. We want to get cheap players looking for something to prove. Ryan Jeffers is a decent catcher. He is a decent catcher, but I don't think he is good enough to justify giving two reasonably good players for it. I think we reject that deal. It's not what we're looking for right now. Basically, we want to get young players who want to prove something, and we want to get older veterans coming off of injury. Players that we can flip for a pretty high return at the deadline. Or really young players that are of high quality. Like, I could see opening up the pocketbook for the right players. If there were the right players. I got $73 million burning a hole in my pocket. That is what we call a lot of money. I want to make sure development is maxed out, which I think would be 39 million. Let's just do 40 million. And I fucking forgot to do development lab. We've lost time that I'll never get back. I'm an idiot. Abner Uribe, work on control, please. George Valera. Would I rather you work on gap power or play discipline? Gap power, easily, is more useful to me. Gap power. Jesus Barreras. Let's get you working on your control first. Oh, that's right. You're a two-way player, aren't you? Yeah, you are a two-way player. No, let's have you do something easier. Let's say you work on your secondary pitches. That seems like a good use of our resources. Mr. Montez, I will have work on whatever hitting tool is easiest for you to improve at. Discipline or power seem to be the easiest. Let's work on play discipline. That's always a useful thing to have. Um, David Shields should work on control. And then I want to improve Gerardo Quintero's defense. Let's work on that. Done. Free agency. We're not going to be in on a lot of the most expensive players. It just doesn't make sense for me to get involved with them. But the bargain bin now, we will raid that one happily and frequently. Grant Ashcraft isn't the most thrilling pitcher, but what he is acceptable, and I think paying him $1 million is more than reasonable. So we'll do that. Hmm. Hmm. Ciano Perez cost me nothing except opportunity, so I will happily give him an offer. I like Brendan Donovan. I like his utility. I like his accomplishments, and I think he's a very fine addition to the club potentially. So, Mr. Donovan, you're in. Um, I want at least one mid-tier free agent if we can get one. Just to give the fans someone to cheer on in the ballpark. Ideally a batter, and not JD Davis. I could see adding Andrew Benintendi to give us a little bit of contact in the lineup. Where would he play? He could easily take left field. Like, we will make it work. I think Benintendi would instantly give us some credibility, which I think we badly need. Submit offer. Any power bats? I'm offering him a longer term contract because I'd like some stability, and that's still a very movable contract. If it turns out he's too expensive, we can still make decent money off of that. I don't think College Schwarber is a good fit because our park devours left-handed hitting. I keep forgetting. No, it doesn't. Our park is actually very much a hitter's park. So a guy like College Schwarber makes very good sense. And dollars too. But yeah, we're gonna give it a go. We're gonna offer them both deals. And I want to try to bring in a couple of pitchers. Starting pitchers, to be precise. I definitely cannot afford Dylan Cease or Chris Sale. Even Griffin Canning is, to be perfectly blunt with you, outside our price range. Aaron Savali, no, Aaron Savali's getting lots of money. Do we go for Clayton Kershaw? Understanding? No, we don't. That's stupid. I'm stupid for suggesting it. Man, starting pitching is expensive as fuck. And I'm just not prepared to pay it. I am not prepared to pay big money for a pitcher. Let me add one of my other favorite filters. Demand is at most $5 million. Now we're talking. Luis Garcia, that's funny. We're gonna call this one bargain shopping. Signing David Peterson comes with some pretty significant upside because we're just giving him a chance, which is really beneficial. Um, I'll bring you back for 2 million. Like that was never my question, but I was going to bring you back for 5 million. So we can certainly offer you 2.4 million. And then I think Chris Bubik would also be a fine choice. He cost you literally nothing. Um, any interesting 1 year players? Just for the purposes of selling some tickets. I'm looking for players that are maybe a little bit older who still has something left to offer and won't break the bank. Hmm. Hmm. I don't like the idea of getting Bo Bichette. Or do I? He's gonna cost me a draft pick, but we know the draft picks suck anyways. I would do 6 years with two team options. That's kind of what I'm looking for here. I feel reasonably good about that one. I don't think that was an unfair decision to make. Any high potential guys that maybe just need a home? Maybe? Yes, no, yes, the parrot? No, there's literally nobody interesting. Okay. Look, if we're going to open up our checkbooks to try to bring in some fans, this is the kind of player you do it for. Someone who's either going to be an outstanding second baseman or a really good shortstop, a great hitter. I think he's going to be really good. And I don't care about the draft pick. Oh, I forgot about Bailey Ober. Here we go. Neither player is that interesting. Fuck off with that noise. Oh, you literally already traded Dylan Carlson. I might have actually talked about that one. Um, no, the problem is I don't think we're going to get Bichette. I think somebody else is going to swoop in and offer him more guaranteed years, and he's going to go nuts for it. But maybe I'm wrong. Um, mm, I need two good to decent prospects, and I'm getting one who isn't even a shortstop. No, this is stupid. You're stupid. Go. Mm, I don't think so. I have other ways to improve my outfield that don't involve making bad trades. They just aren't good trade deals. They're just not. And I'm a little embarrassed that you're even offering them. Yeah, I was never going to be able to compete for this. It's not worth it to me at this point. Or is it? I will offer this contract, but that's probably it. If he says no again, I will pivot and find a different player. I have to. Hmm. Fine. I'll offer you actual money. I don't like adding salary unless I'm adding somebody that I could easily flip or has some specific value to the club, which right now I don't see. How much more are you asking for? That's too much. I'm out. Hmm. Tommy Edman, I'm not gonna lie, is a pretty shitty consolation prize. Hmm. Hmm. I just don't see the point in signing anybody else. Tom Edman is really good defensively, and I appreciate that, and he's even been a decent hitter in his major league career. It's dumb to commit a large sum of money to him. It's just stupid. Tyler O'Neill is thoroughly mid. I don't see the point in signing him either, especially if we're getting Teoscar Hernandez and or Andrew Benintendi. I think that by itself upgrades things pretty significantly. I guess there's JD Davis, but I don't want to sign someone just to sign someone. There's always a possibility of trading for somebody mid-season. Um, where's my bonus pool money? Oh, dip. Okay. Yeah, I just don't see the purpose. I don't see the purpose in signing anyone other than Bo Bichette because nobody else here is that good. I mean, maybe Eloy Jimenez if he was a little bit more consistent at the plate. He is popular. The people love them some Eloy Jimenez, and he could play DH for us. But I don't think so. I think the best thing we can do right now is save the extra money and apply it when we really need to. Um, Let me go position by position. I'm reasonably satisfied with catcher. First base is an area of weakness, and Aaron Sabato certainly is nobody's idea of a necessarily brilliant hitter. So for the right first baseman, I could be persuaded to spend a little bit of cash. That's a very clear area of improvement. I'm willing to make it work with Michael Garcia. I'm willing to run it back with last year's infield and see what we can accomplish, if anything. Um, Who is the best overall hitter in free agency? Like Yandy Diaz is very clearly number two. You get Stephen Kwan for free? Sure. Why not? Hmm. I think you could add Garrett Cooper, just use Kyle Schwarber and get a reasonable upgrade. So I think for now, we're going to take a look at the Rule 5 draft, though. I think we're going to be big players there. And if we find interesting players, we're going to jump on them. It's also possible Bichette prices himself out of actually getting selected. That is a very real possibility. Because he might be trying to push every side up against the other side, and eventually, at a certain point, something has to give. If the A's had given me a little bit more, I would actually consider making this deal. No, he won't give me Brendan Maloney. Okay. This is a gamble. I'm going to tell you why it's a gamble. Typhoid is a gamble because we're essentially banking that our pitching coaches will be able to get something out of him that A's were not. And I'm not convinced that's possible, but maybe it is. Like, Huascar Inoue is just taking up money. And I don't think he's going to make the opening day roster. Let's make this trade, but I also want to try to get another starting pitcher. So we right now we have a few pitchers being offered deals. I'd like to add on what is Frankie Montas wanting 7 million? His pitches aren't that great though. Jakob Yunis, I think, could be a decent pitcher. Let's offer him a contract, right? Lucas Giolito is actually a better choice. The soul rules are the land of opportunity. I'm not necessarily looking for great things. I'm looking for good things. I should be checking the trade market too, to be honest with you. Let's do Hall of Fame voting first, and then we will revisit Beltran, Beltray, Greinke, A-Rod, CC Sabathia, Max Scherzer, Ichiro, Joey Votto. I'll vote for Adam Wainwright. I'm gonna go back up to the top. I feel like Yadi Molina has it on lock in real life. Vote for Joe Mauer too. Gotta love me some Bartolo Colon. I'll vote for Robinson Cano. I don't think he's got a chance to make it in real life because of the both domestic violence allegations and the PEDs, but it's just a video game. Um, I'll vote for Buster Posey too. And then I guess Chase Utley. Like, I don't feel super passionately about most of the people here. So we'll go with that. Submit ballot done. If I were to guess, Beltray and Sabathia have a pretty easy path, as does Scherzer. Beyond that, we'll have to see. We will have to see. Hmm. Oh, give me my scouting director, please. I think I've got to add both Benintendi and Hernandez. And probably Garcia too. Who are the worst players on my 40 man? Oh yeah, all you fuckers are gone. Warber makes it, and I think Brendan Donovan makes it too. There you go. Rooftop Jet's one of my favorite places to get relievers. It's also a good place to get players you don't mind stashing on the roster. No, Langdon Nax sucks. It's not good enough for Juan Brito, whether or not he actually. I want you to get from San Diego. I'm just curious. Really? That's exactly what I fucking offered you. I mean, granted, I would prefer to live in San Diego too over Charlotte, but holy shit, dude. This whole fucking time you've got me convinced that I need to bid you up, and it turned out you just wanted to live in San Diego. That's kind of a dick move. You're welcome, Padres. He wouldn't have taken two team options if I had put the idea in his head. Man, that sucked. I am bumming slightly. It's all about getting really high potential guys, if there are any. So I took CNL Perez, which I'd be a lot more annoyed about. Damn it, the really good pitcher got taken. Son of a bitch. But Nayless has pretty decent raw power. That's at least worth a lottery ticket to see how he turns out. but I really want Andrew Frank. I think he's incredibly useful, and so we're going to take him first. Then I'm going to take Benelis from the Woo Sox. I'm going to take Anthony Gutierrez. Mr. Gutierrez here has a ton of athleticism and upside, and I'm willing to give him a chance to play just a little bit in the major leagues, and see what he can manage with that. So we're going to go ahead and draft him. And that's going to end our Rule 5's draft. Also lost Maddox Bruns. I am not that sad about that. Oof. Quintero did not so well with his defense. That is disappointing. Um, Mr. Brunellis, let's work on your contact. Oh, you don't have enough time for that. I see. If that's the case, I'd rather train Gutierrez, and I'd rather he work on base running fundamentals. Uribe and Valera should both be getting better. That's good. Yeah, I bet nobody wanted you fuckers. Oh, I forgot about Ashcraft. Oh, we got Luis Garcia and Kyle Schwarber. We need to put them somewhere, don't we? Garcia, Schwarber, and Hernandez. And then all you dipshits get to go to the minor leagues. A decent defensive prospect with one offensive skill seems like a really terrible decision. Like, this seems like just bad. Like, Quintero is a better player than you are. Stop offering me Ryan Jeffers. I'm not going to overpay for a mid tier catcher. That's just silly to me. All right. I've got to get rid of one more guy from my 40 man. Let me try trading Briner here and see what might be offered for him. Nothing of consequence. I mean, Bruce Zimmerman seems like the kind of guy we can probably move on from. What if I take one of my prospects and include him in the offer to try to get you to give me a better prospect? Like, Von Necker sucks. I mean, he is a really good hitter, so I guess there's some value there. Bosco Yanakani isn't the worst idea to trade. Let's offer him up. I'll go just trade Zimmerman for, like, bonus pool money from somebody. Who's got the most of it? Like, I literally just want part of your cash. International amateurs. Let's talk to the Marlins. Hey, Marlins. Would you like your very own Bruce Zimmerman for the low, low cost of a little bit of money? Oh, I can't trade that yet. About 500 grand in real money. Oh, it didn't include Zimmerman. That was dumb. Let's keep him until we have to get rid of him. Alright. Now, the thing is, I can't add Giolito to our roster because reasons, so. I can't get too picky here. This is literally just trying to get the best return I can for a player I don't actually want. These guys all suck. I guess Chris Anglin is the least terrible. So we'll go for good old Chris here. And now I can actually add Giolito to the 40-man roster. Okay, now let me try to offer Zimmerman to the Marlins. Really, jerk, really. But they'll only trade for it. Interesting. I'm not gonna fuck with it then. Alright. We need a flagship player. Somebody who's got a chance to be one of the best players in the major leagues if he develops correctly. Because that player is not coming from the draft. We have three options here of top tier hitters, all of whom could change our fortunes in a very real way. We have Juan Carrasco, Nesty Morales, and Juan Oliva. I can at most get one of these players. So who do I want more than anything? Juan Carrasco is a corner outfielder. He's not a center fielder, but he's a good enough one, and he's got some really special offensive talent. There's a lot to like about Mr. Carrasco here. Nesty Morales is probably the most polished hitter. Like, he's got really high upside and does everything well if he develops. He's also not a very hard worker, so that is a definite concern. Oh my god. Juan Oliva is such a good catcher, but he's so fucking stupid. Like, leader and loyalty, I don't care about. I care about low work ethic, which means he's not likely to reach his actual potential. I think we go Carrasco. I think we go for Carrasco and see if it works out. Or do we go for Oliva? Juan Oliva at maximum power is not merely because maximum effort. He is such a good player, potentially. Can I resist it? I don't think I can. The idea of getting a good defensive catcher who's also an incredible hitter is so awesome. I don't see how I cannot go for it. But that low work ethic really concerns me. It really badly concerns me. I'll tell you what I'm I'm going to shortlist him, and we'll see if I make the right choice here. I'm going to take Carrasco instead. Carrasco's not a perfect prospect. I don't like his low plate discipline, but he shouldn't strike out all that much. He's got loads of power potential, and he's got good contact. I think he's the right play. Oh shit. Let's cut some people from the National Complex then. Yes, this is something else that somebody mentioned. Changing the international complex size. Like, I guess, yeah, here it is. Let's do default. Thank you for the person who recommended that. That's really helpful. Yes, now I can do it. Give me Carrasco. I'm gonna max it out. I cannot risk missing out on a player of high caliber just because I decided to try to get two of them. Hoping his love for my team will improve him, will make him happy. And I'll be like, oh, dip. That's really cool. Oh, you got better at base running. That's lovely. That's good shit, pal. Um, we now have content staff cohesion. Our remodeling of the front of the coaching staff has really paid dividends. Let's try to sneak in some cheeky player development. Let's have Geraldo Quintero work on a new position. Montez and Shields are not likely to be successful, but Uribe, Valera, and Freeze Barreras should all be quite nice. We got him. He just increased my budget. I have to increase my scouting budget then. It is mandatory. Let's do it. Yeah, we're going max scouting. I have no reason not to give him a giant sack of cash right now. I'm still 30th in player payroll. I just don't see anybody worth spending on. I will quickly check the trading block and see if there's anybody offering an interesting player or two. Jose Alvarado seems like a poor addition. If I'm going to trade, I want somebody who's got a potential to crack the starting lineup. What would it cost to get Freddie Fermin? No, I don't want another catcher. I don't want to challenge any more than I have to. Brandon Lowe's not that interesting. There's nobody there. Not a soul. Ouch. Right fielder. Not third baseman? Interesting. It's got to be Ichiro, right? Like, Ichiro's got to be the guy that they voted in. Alex Benitez is improving already. Nice. Bailey Ober losing velocity isn't terribly good, all things considered. Interesting. Very interesting. I get it. Um, and I've talked about this before. I don't really feel the need to belabor the point, but I just want to point out that the reason Ichiro is a Hall of Famer in my book is because of what he did in Japan. What he did in the major leagues is a lovely little bonus, but that is not what the true story is. The true story is what he did in Japan. Um, because a reasonably fast contact only hitter has to hit for a lot of contact if he's going to be a Hall of Famer like Tony Gwynn. Well, Tony was also a fairly good right fielder, too. And Tony Gwynn also wasn't allergic to walks the way that Ichiro was. Like, let me say why, although I like Ichiro, and I think he's going to be the Hall of Fame, I think it's important not to overrate him. He stole a bunch of bases. He hit for a decent average. Didn't have a ton of power. He had some. He wasn't bereft of power. He got a bunch of gold gloves for some reason. Um, but for his career, look at his OPS plus. He was slightly above average for a very long time. However, when you include his peak, and in particular, Japan, he is a hard Hall of Famer. But Ichiro Suzuki, that played for most of his career in the major leagues, was not that impressive a player. Besides his accumulating hits, which he was always good at. Now, let me show you why I think Tony Gwynn is better. And I'm saying it because Tony Gwynn is the player that I grew up loving. Um, he had more power, a higher batting average, and an elite on base percentage on top of stealing bases and being pretty good defensively. Tony Gwynn was just a better hitter, especially, remember, OPS Plus is adjusted to park and to era. He was 38% better than the average major leaguer. And all he did was crank out doubles like they're going into style. The man won, wait for it, 7 batting titles. Forgive me, Mr. Gwynn, my idol. 7 batting titles. So yes, when I say that Ichiro is a Hall of Famer, but not an inner circle Hall of Famer, that's why I mean that. Because for his era, Ichiro wasn't that impressive. Maybe you could argue he came to the major leagues at the wrong time. That's very possible. Um, but while he was a good player, Tony Gwynn was better. And I think the idea that Ichiro Sugi is going to be a unanimous Hall of Famer is just silly to me. So I'm just going to look at his numbers and say, well, okay. I feel like I keep shortchanging the man. Like, I doubt Ichiro's watching this video. If he is, thank you, sir. Um, Ichiro plus Japan is a unanimous Hall of Famer. He is the international hit king. He is. While there were other Japanese players in Major League Baseball before, Ichiro made it cool. Ichiro was the first, I think, megastar that came out of Japan. That's what makes him special. That's what makes him a Hall of Famer. If his name was Joe Schmo and you looked only at his career in the major leagues, he's still probably a Hall of Famer. But it would take him a lot longer. Like, hey, let's compare another guy on his own fucking team for most of his tenure. Somebody that had to fight and claw to get into the Hall of Fame. Just kidding, not that Edgar Martinez. This Edgar Martinez. Edgar Martinez was significantly more valuable to the Seattle Mariners than Ichiro was. Like, this isn't even a debate. He was a better player. Yes, he didn't offer much in the way of defense. And I know for some people, that's a huge issue for them. Ichiro was worth nearly 60 wins while playing the majority of his career as a designated hitter. That is completely insane. Completely, utterly insane. I have often bitched about Mo Vaughn winning the MVP in 1995. I don't think he deserved it. I would have said Albert Bell deserved it. But if Edgar Martinez had won it with that ridiculous batting average and on base percentage, I would have been like, you know what? No complaints. Not a single complaint. And I just think it's not fair to. Well, Ichiro and Edgar Martinez weren't contemporaries. That's my mistake. He's closer to being a contemporary of Ken Griffey than he is a contemporary of Ichiro over Edgar Martinez. Anyways, my point still stands. Edgar Martinez was an incredible hitter, and this idea that Ichiro is a slam dunk Hall of Famer based because he got 3,000 hits, he got a nice round counting number is silly. Put Ichiro in the Hall of Fame for the right reason. The fact he was an amazing player inside and outside the United States, an ambassador to the game, well, somebody really fucking good at baseball. Just maybe not this ultra elite inner circle Hall of Famer that so many people seem to think that he is. Unless they're counting Japan. That's not something we're going to complain about that probably. Because I think Ichiro is going to be up for the Hall of Fame very soon here. And I think he's got a very good chance to make it in pretty easily. Spring training. Anybody worth giving a shot to? Yes. Stephen Kwan, Chris Bubik, Mason Black. All good choices. Did we get better this off season? That is a really, really hard thing to say. The answer is probably no. I am not convinced at all that we're a better player, that we're a better team than we were before. What we are, though, is a more interesting team. And it's not going to take much for one or two of these players that we took out a lottery ticket on to be a top tier player. Like, it is not difficult at all to see good timing really benefit us. The right player at the right time, playing a little above average, could turn into a nice little haul for us at the trade deadline. That's what we're looking for. Because it's going to take a while before we have the kind of farm system that's going to develop quality players. Oh, Spart did it in a fucking accident. What a dipshit. How did you break your finger? I demand to know. He fell asleep at the wheel and all he did was break a finger. Mr. Spire, if you're a religious person, I would be praying every single day because that is some lucky ass bullshit. I say that. I was in a car accident and all I had was a burn on my left arm, but still, that's pretty nuts. Oh, do I have the stupid day-to-day thing set here? No, I don't. Okay. I did not mean to simulate the entire month. Just kidding. Because I've got to be able to set the roster before I can do that. Just gonna do a little. You want me to do not disturb? No, I don't want to do that. I don't want them signing players at this point in the season. Let's just have ourselves a merry little spring training. Here we go. Done. Wow, so glad we brought Luis Garcia back. Super cool. Just sim a week at a time. And I wasn't gonna keep Chris. I wasn't gonna put him on the roster anyway. Oh, thank God! Thank you, OTP, for fixing that. It was so irritating. I had to put somebody in the Major League DL when I didn't want him on the Major League roster. That's actually really smart. So thank you, OTP Developments. OOTP Developments. I'm never gonna make that a thing, and I probably shouldn't. All right, you're outstanding. He significantly improved his pitch control, and yet did not improve his pitch control at all. He actually lost control and then regained it. So at the end of the day, that was kind of silly. Your gap power didn't get any better. You literally just said he spent time improving his gap power, which is no better than it was. You also didn't scout. No, you did scout him. Yeah. Man. All right, we got to get down to 30 to 26 players. We have 18 pitchers, which is excessive. Incredibly excessive. Let's wear that down. Back out of the minors. Lopez to the minors. Cantillo to the minors. Mason Black to the minors. Not to be on the fucking 40 man. Don't lie to me, game. I'm gonna just trade Mason Black. Like, I'm not gonna keep him on the roster just because he might be okay. Zimmerman to the minors. What am I at right now? 14 pitchers. I will at most have 13, and I'd prefer not even to have that. But can I at least demote Mason Black now? Yes, I can. There's not a rotation that inspires fear in anybody, ever. But it is our rotation, and I'm hopeful that we get some competitive games out of it. Okay, we've got way too many hitters. Let's make a dent into it. I forgot about Rowdy Telez. Alright, Aaron Sabato definitely goes to the minor leagues. Will Brennan to the minor leagues. Stephen Kwan to the minor leagues. Six outfielders is excessive. Seven outfielders is extremely excessive. Um, do I trade Celestino? I think I do. I don't think Gilberto Celestino will ever be worth 3 wins again. Can I get a prospect package for him, maybe? I can get an unimpressive package, but there are packages being offered at least. All right. Victor Mesa Jr. is a really good all around outfielder. Anguiano has the potential to be a pretty good outfielder in his own right. Moises Brito isn't that impressive, but he's actually a really good reliever. I think this is why just handing you $50 million in cash. I have a lot of money available. This is fine. It frees up a roster spot and gives us 3 players that are still very, very good. I wish him well with Tampa, but I think this is the right decision. Um, an accomplished young athlete turning into 3 accomplished young athletes is a sensible decision. It just is. And then I think Dane Myers goes to the minor leagues. So got to get rid of 4 position players. I have an excessive number of first basemen. One of whom isn't actually a first baseman. I'm gonna trade Lopez. What if I allow the AI to include other players? Oh, I'm getting offers now, but who am I actually trading? These are all objectively terrible. I'll just send Otto Lopez to the minor leagues. Like trading him for nothing is stupid. Juan Brito is getting traded. I am going to trade him. And I should be able to get something relatively good for Juan Brito. Because teams are champing at the bit to get their hands on him earlier, and I feel pretty strongly that that hasn't changed. Damn, son. I wouldn't mind a nice young catcher. Jesus Rodriguez is certainly not a terrible choice. I'm gonna keep looking though, because I don't want to go for the first thing being offered to me in case there's something better. Blade Tidwell's a pretty incredible name, and he's also an incredible pitcher. He's actually genuinely pretty talented. Eh, who was that one catcher? Brandon Valenzuela is a pretty good hitter. Who's also obviously a pretty good catcher. I think he would be a decent start to a package. If I could get Max Anderson and Valenzuela, I'd be pretty happy about that. Can I get both of them? I'm gonna simulate one day and see what the reaction is. No, this is stupid. I will just take Valenzuela and accept it. Four position players have to go. Tellez is certainly one of them. And I think Quintero is the last one. It means two first basemen make the roster, which I'm fine with. Um, and I still think Brendan Donovan is a highly capable backup. He's not a great shortstop, and so we're kind of stuck there. But let's not lose sight of Alex Beniles's potential as a first baseman. All right, let us generate a new depth chart with all of the peoples in it. So we're playing Valerian right, Schwarber at DH, or first base, potentially. Brendan Donovan playing first base every once in a while is fine. We've got a really interesting mix of players, and we're really leaning into platoon matchups. We're platooning at DH, we're platooning at first base, and I guess just the two places. But we're also moving people around the lineup, which is pretty neat. I don't like Brendan Donovan, but I'm willing to give him an opportunity to show that he can be a useful reserve, if nothing else. All right, friends, let's sim up to spring training and then take stock in what we've accomplished this off season. England? Yeah, he's terrible. Thank goodness for Juan Carrasco, or we wouldn't be anywhere near the top minor league systems. As it is, they're still pretty shitty. We're ahead of Nashville, thankfully. But only because of Carrasco. We have one highly regarded prospect. A single highly regarded prospect. And what were you looking for from me, Mr. Owner Pants? Okay, well, we'll see. What do I think about our chances this year? Focusing first on the starters. We have a lot of high on base percentage players. I think we're going to get on base at a very good clip. We've got a decent amount of power up and down the lineup. I think this lineup is going to be surprisingly competitive. Surprisingly competitive. But it's also a lineup full of a lot of 1 year players, which we may have to think about as the season progresses. We're not brilliant defensively, but I think we're good enough defensively that I don't think we're leaving anything on the field with the gloves. Um, if all of our players play at their very best, I think we've got a team with a ton of on base machines. And with Teoscar Hernandez, Kyle Schwarber, George Valera, and Josh Young, we should be able to hit lots of baseballs out of the park. That's the expectation anyway. Whether we're actually going to achieve that expectation is unclear to me. What about our pitching staff? It's not good. We lack genuine frontline pitching talent. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. I have one good pitcher, which is our closer. He will eventually price himself out of our price range and be turned into a package of interesting players, which is something that we need. But we're relying very heavily on veteran arms that don't have a ton of upside. And I think the worst part about our team is we don't have a good minor league system. I don't have a way to get top tier major league players. I just don't. Other than signing highly touted international free agents and hoping we get lucky. Or hoping that a player turns in a really good season and becomes a valuable player for somebody else. It is going to be a long, tough road to get to a point where I can confidently say this is a playoff team. Um, but there are genuine assets on this team. There are genuinely good players that have a chance to be useful contributors on the first great Charlotte franchise. Um, Guys like George Valera, Alex Benitez, if he learns from Kyle Schwarber, could be a nice little find. Bo Naylor, who I think is underrated massively and still has a ton to offer us, given a little bit more batted ball luck. These are talented young players that have a future with this club. Michael Garcia could be a sneaky good shortstop if things break correctly. Pitching wise, we have Andrew Abbott, and honestly, I don't hate Andrew Abbott at all. A lefty that throws this hard, if he can throw strikes consistently, it's going to be such a weapon on the base paths that I'm really excited to see what he could accomplish. Tanner Houck is certainly nobody's idea of a true pitcher's pitcher. What he is, though, is a reliable arm that can be of great use to us. I don't think about Bailey Ober, but even though he doesn't throw that hard, he's got really good control. if you can just pump pitches in a way that they don't get hit, which I guess is the job of pitching, he's going to be something really interesting. Now, player development wise, we don't have a thrilling minor league system. We just don't. We're still, none of our minor leagues are anywhere near major league ready. Take a look at our prospect pipeline for the Charlottesville Rules. You will see that there are very few players on the 2026 timeline. Victor Mesa Jr. could be one. Benilus is in the minors already. Gutierrez is in the majors already. Quintero is in the majors already. Mesa is really intriguing to me because he's not an embarrassment in center field. I want him to play in AAA to start off the season, but he does genuinely have an opportunity to be a useful contributor. Oh, did I fix that one setting here? Blah, 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 blah. It is under global settings, and it is based on all players. That's what I was looking for. Okay. Is there... Oh, keep game logs, but don't keep replays. That doesn't make any sense to me. And don't generate highlights for human teams. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be very interesting to see how the season progresses and whether we're able to make some serious improvements over the course of the season. Um, I desperately need one or more of my pending fictions to have a massive season so that I can flip them at the deadline for good young talent. Schwarber, I'm looking at you. You are surprisingly important to my success as a franchise. If you can turn around and have a great season, I can sell you for a good amount of money, and that's going to be very valuable to me. I can keep Gavin Lux for a fairly small sum, but I need him to earn that contract before I commit to him. Victor Mesa Jr. ain't going anywhere. I will put him on the 40-man roster as soon as an opportunity presents itself. Inoa, maybe. But Schwarber, I have a lot riding on it. Mr. Schwarber could do us a kindness and by the deadline hit like 30 to 40 home runs. He's not gonna hit that many. It'd be awesome if he did, though. Really awesome if he did. Yeah. Cool. Is Stephen Kwan just Andrew Benintendi but better? Oh, I haven't given people major league contracts. I should. I should do. In fact, I must do. Benintendi's already got a major league contract. Interesting. Why am I keeping Benintendi, though? Like, it seems like it didn't list him as a pending free agent, but he definitely is. Curious. Very curious. Stephen Kwan is really good. I guess Benintendi does have more power, but Stephen Kwan's also a much better outfielder than he is. Huh. Well, anyways. We've got a good amount of depth in the minor leagues. That cannot be understated. I'm gonna go ahead and quickly throw Mesa Jr. and Valenzuela on the 40 man because I want to keep them both. And yeah, we're gonna end today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know how you think the season's gonna go. Do you think we can make the playoffs with this roster? Anything's possible, but something crazy would have to happen, I think, for that to be a thing. Until next time, my friends, this has been App Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.